Hey people, thanks for joining, liking, and subscribing. Mike Martins here. Okay guys, well, I got some important information I want to share with you guys and get this out there. Guys, nobody worry. Don't worry. And what am I talking about? Well, the New York Post, the Washington Post, all the mainstream media, and I think CNN's picking it up now. All the mainstream media is picking up climate emergency may be declared in the United States. And you guys remember what happened in 2019? If you were watching Mike in the Night, we were covering the protests all over the world. The entire planet, except, I don't know, a few countries weren't protesting, but everybody was protesting. And what did the mainstream media do? Instead of putting accountability on no confidence in governments, they put accountability on climate change. That's what it was. Climate change. So you had the Gilets jaunes in France protesting. You had the for over 70, 80 weeks now at that time. Then you had the protests in Hong Kong. You had the protests in Iran. You had the protests in Syria, Libya. You had protests in Russia, Germany, Poland, all over Europe. You had protests of just austerity being cut and people's wages, getting diminished and pensions getting wiped out and people going homeless. And all of South America was protesting. The entire Caribbean was protesting. It was a poop show in 2019. It was the year of the protest. And what was the mainstream media doing? They were flipping it as climate change, that it's our fault. But no one's looking at the governance and why people were really protesting in Chile, blowing up vehicles in Argentina. It was nonstop in 2019, and governments were losing their grip. So what happened? What happened in 2020, and we talked about that on the channel many times. We predicted it before it even happened. We actually phrased it like it was going to happen many times. So it happened. They locked everything down. We didn't say lockdowns. We said the other thing. So lockdowns happened. So what's happening now? 2022, and I said, is going to be the year of the protest, and it's picking up steam everywhere. And you know what? They're going to have to figure something out, because now they're going to go back with this climate thing, because that's the original plan they had in 2019. 2019 was the climate thing. They had no other way to pass the blame on anything else but climate. So let's blame the climate. So now they're going to issue an emergency order or emergency decree of some sorts, and they want swift answers, basically. And that's what they're reporting now. Climate change or climate crisis, they're calling it now. So let's go back to basics. In 1878, 1880, they had the climate, it wasn't the climate, it was the Methane Protection Act that they try to pass on farmers to charge them $5 or whatever dollars per head of cattle. $5 is too much, but it was back in the day. It was like 5 cents per head of cattle, 10 cents per head of horse that they had on their farm. They had to pay a Methane Protection Act. That was back in the 1880s, 1890s. Then, swing around to the 1960s, 1970s, you had acid rain. Oh, the acid rain! It's melting everything, if you guys remember that. Then fast forward to 1984, where the ozone layer has a hole in it! The ozone layer is gonna melt everything! So, there goes the ozone layer thing. Ozone Layer Protection Act, 1984. And then we fast forward to early 2000, after everyone forgot about the ozone layer thing. Global warming. And Florida is going to be underwater. The whole world's going to be underwater. But that never happened. So after global warming, climate change. Well, you can't really argue that because the climate, it's going to rain tomorrow. So you can't argue that the climate's changing because it is, right? Now it's climate emergency. And now they're pulling that now. Climate emergency. Now it's one after another after another. Now they're going back to the playbook and pulling a 2019 where we're going to have to, are the governments going to take blame with the runaway double-digit inflation, the rolling blackouts, the food shortages? Are governments today going to take the blame for that? Of course they're not. They're going to get more raises so they can afford to buy food. And the people in the private sector that are not getting the raises working for the governments are going to have to suffer. Right? So I wanted to put this out there to make this really clear. Do not worry about this climate announcement that's going to be made, okay? Don't worry. Think for yourselves, okay? This is my opinion. I don't know anything, and I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. But I want you guys not to worry about this. Another climate agenda coming up again. Anyways, guys, Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.